know.
Yeah, it's so many.
There's, I will, well, that's, I won't talk about it.
Oh, with Concom.
With us tonight.
With Concom.
Yeah.
Did you meet Ruth?
Yeah.
I waited talked to her when she came in, but because of that situation last night, I didn't have time to get over to her and talk to her after the fact because I was swamped after.
Okay.
So I do apologize.
No.
I plan on stopping by there this weekend and just knocking on the door and just apologizing.
She's just sweet.
Yeah, no, I love them. Yeah.
I do not have that letter.
No, this, you're excited.
Oh, the original?
Yeah,
Okay, I thought it was something.
yeah, no, we gotta talk about this.
No, unless there's an issue, you're good.
I want to add this letter to our discussion tonight.
Which one?
This letter to our letter, this sub letter.
Oh, the cell letter?
Yeah, yeah, I had
No problem.
a pretty incredible meeting last night. So,
Great.
yeah. So,
Yep.
It's okay once in a while.
Oops, let's get
My
this.
kids like the cheesy thing.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Doobie-doobie-doobie-doo. All right. It is 7 p.m. I shall call this meeting of the Select Board Tuesday, May 16th, 2023 to order. We have no visitors here today, so we'll start going through packet. First item, New Hampshire Department of Revenue Community Action Report. If you had a chance to look at this, we're going to be doing a reassessment this year. Currently, it says that our assessment level is 71%, which means that chances are everybody's assessment in town is going to be going higher, some more than others. It doesn't mean that they're going to end up paying more in property tax. It just means that the assessment goes up and then our property tax rate will go down relative to last year's dollars, but we'll collect the same, the money that we were planning on collecting. So, any questions about the action report for the assessment? No? Great. All right. Next item, we have an FAA notice that they are making changes to helicopter flying in the region. This is more of a notice for them just to tell us about the area of the changes. General study area is basically southeastern New Hampshire, Maine, and a small proportion of northeastern Mass. Any questions, comments?
No, sir.
Okay, acknowledgement that we've received that. Lamprey Regional Cooperative Contract. Now, I thought we had voted and signed this, but this is our the amendments to our waste disposal at the Lamprey landfill. I know that we had discussed this before with the increases basically being steady through 2029 and then jumping up by quite a bit
And
after 2030 on.
I received an email from the city. ourselves and two other towns.
Yeah, I saw the same email. Yeah,
So,
which surprises me, but this just needs me signing it. We voted on to approve this last time, so I'll sign that and get that out. Any questions about that? No. Great. Let me see the checks. Library. Newfields Community Forest Project. So I had forwarded you drafts of a letter as well as a summary package. This is with respect to the Rugg property that we discussed at our last meeting. The Trust for Public Land drafted this letter. This would be in support of their efforts to obtain grant money to support the acquisition of the Rugg property. Doesn't commit us to anything, but in essence, it's asking LCHIP to, or indicating to LCHIP that the town is in support of this and in hopes that they will award full funding. Any questions or comments about that?
I just observe on that, I'm totally amenable to doing this. You know, there's a lot of dollars that we need to receive yet on this. And my understanding is that the process of going through the Trust for Public Land is you basically give them a green light to start pursuing resources
Correct.
that are available, and it does not commit the town in the sense that if the community says, no, we do not want to do this, that we're still going to be able to go, okay, that's fine.
Right.
This is just be able to tap potential resources for availability.
Yep, and as the letter notes, it obviously is pending the outcome of appraisal and public meetings for what we're at. One thing, I'm going to make one change to this, and that is in paragraph 4, where they say that in preparation for this, the Ruggs have submitted a 67 lot subdivision plan to the planning board for review. That's actually not correct. That language should read something to the effect of, in preparation for this, they have held preliminary discussions with the Newfields Planning Board on a 67 lot subdivision plan. They have not submitted anything formally to the planning board for review at this time.
Okay.
So I'll make that change to this and sign it unless you guys have other changes or edits that you think are necessary.
No, actually, I'm glad you brought that up, because when I read it the first time, I thought, all right, I haven't seen that plan.
Yep, has it, yeah, they've had discussions, they've brought in drawings of what they anticipate this might look like,
Right.
but nothing has gone before the planning board for formal review, and I think we need to make sure that people understand that that has not taken place. All right, so I'll make that one change and I'll sign that then with support of the board. Oh, why don't we take a vote on that? I'll make a motion for the town and board to support the letter to LCHIP, asking them in support of the grant for the Rugg property acquisition.
I'll second.
Second by Mike. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Great, thank you very much. We have a notice of intent to cut for map 208 lot 25. Must be cut or on the right. Do you know what property this is, Keisha?
What's that?
Whose property is this? Is it
I think
Todd?
it's Todd, is it Todd down the bottom?
Yeah, Todd Cadet. Okay,
It says.
great. Any questions about?
What is this for?
So, you're required when you're doing a large cut,
Yeah.
to actually file with the town because there's revenue to the state associated with intent to cut.
Really?
Yep. And so, this goes back to way back. So, they're required to do that. This is basically them stating, you see the amounts on the right-hand side of the
Yeah.
amount of board feet, number of cords that they expect to draw
Okay.
off the property.
Oh.
So,
So it's all about revenue, Michael.
Sure.
yeah, and that's why this is, Department of Revenue Administration, so they have to go to the town for approval.
Gotcha.
Any other questions?
No, sir.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the notice of intent to cut.
Second.
Second by Hobie, all in favor?
Aye.
Let's see, I'll sign this. down the bottom. Interesting. So next up is New Hampshire Department of Safety E911 letter. We didn't draft this, it looks like they drafted. 911, E911 draft this, it looks like. So they're requesting the town release the data to New Hampshire Granite. Jump in if you have questions
There's kind of
or,
an overlap here that I'm not quite sure I'm cognizant of. I'm able to wrap my hands around.
and what you're referring to.
Well, the 911 stuff, but how are they they're using that to identify residences so they can track the broadband?
That, it looks like that's what they want to do, is take the E911 data.
Which is all public record.
No, actually, E911 data it's
By addresses, is it not?
I don't think it's like publicly available unless the town actually decides that to release it. And what the State Broadband Mapping Initiative wants us to do is to release that data to New Hampshire Granite to incorporate into the broadband mapping that is being coordinated by New Hampshire Granite and UNH. New Hampshire Granite, if you go on New Hampshire Granite, it's a variety of mapping. You can get maps of wetlands, you can get maps of everything in the state that they have data on. This sounds like that they are looking for that E911 data to incorporate into their broadband mapping program.
What's the downside of not with this? I mean, there's got to be another way to access that broadband. Is there not?
Well, one is, I guess my question is, what's the value that the town is receiving for releasing this data?
And in a sense, would you consider it like confidential data?
It's E911 data, so it's basically all the E911 location data for residences and businesses around here.
So the scope of that, you know what the scope of that is, Wayne? Names, addresses, phone numbers, all that?
I don't know if it's that much in depth, other than addresses and stuff like that. I don't know too much about it. I know they usually go up and map the area, businesses, and I know I went through this in Greenland, they had similar roads that had the symbols saying names, they would make some recommendations and stuff.
Because I did that up in Bridgewater, I did the whole 911 recharting.
Yeah,
If it's just addresses, I don't have an issue with it, but if it starts getting into personal data.
I don't think.
This won't change any of our E911 service. This is more for the broadband mapping initiative, which is basically trying to ID what areas or what neighborhoods are underserved by broadband services, right? And so this has no impact on emergency services whatsoever, whether we release this information or not.
And I don't think we're releasing the names of how people that live in houses and stuff. I don't think.
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, the one sentence in here, also the maps that are produced will allow for the necessary analysis while also maintaining the confidentiality of the E911 data. So it sounds like there's some confidential information. I'm not sure if the.
Can we find out more information?
Yeah, so let's defer. I have no problem punting. I have no problem punting. Somebody want to take the responsibility of contacting?
Mr. Justice?
No, this is basically, this is the broadband mapping initiative, right? This isn't public safety really.
No, I was looking at the name at the bottom there.
Oh, it's Carol Miller. Here.
Okay, oh, I don't have that page.
Oh, you don't have the back? Oh, I'm sorry.
Just at the cover sheet.
I'm going to give that to you. So Carol Miller has been running broadband mapping in the state for or.
All right, I'll take it.
Just, any information you find out would be great.
Okay.
We will punt on this. I'll just put it there for now. All right, solar exemption, another solar exemption. What is this for? Property tax exemption? Yep. I have a note here.
Yeah, so, Rod, who was in last week, he handed me this, solar exemption,
Rod who?
the assessor. Tom
Rod
Assessor.
Wood?
Rod Wood, yes. And he gave me this, RSA as well with it, and basically said he wasn't sure if you'd be able to deny it because the state says that it's allowed for them to sell the unused portion of
They
the
are.
RSA. And so that's just what he said to me, and he handed it to me, so.
No, there's no question that
Yeah.
there's nothing that we do that can prohibit that. You have it?
I've got it right here. At the,
What year was it?
March 2015,
2015.
Article 7, shall the town adopt the provisions of RSA 72:61-64 inclusively, which provide for an optional property tax exemption from the property's assessed value for property tax purposes for persons owning real property, which is equipped with solar energy systems intended for the sole use at the immediate site. Such property tax exemption shall be in the amount equal to 100% of the assessed value, and recommended by selectmen, it passed 304 to 199. So the underlying part there is for the sole use at the immediate site.
Correct, so what the town did was said, we're not gonna stop anybody from net metering, but we're not going to give them an exemption if they are net metering, because they're already getting subsidized by every other electric payer in town,
Right.
because the net metering rate is basically
Substantial.
And I,
substantial, yeah.
yeah, I think he just assumed that because of the RSA, state RSA, that you would have to give them the exemption, was the impression I got from him.
Mm,
But having said that, I just didn't know, this is a new one that came through, and I just don't know if, when they come through, if I should still continue to give them to you.
Oh, you should, but again, you know, it'd be nice if these people came in and actually talked to us about it.
Okay,
So everyone could understand. Again, I know exactly, I was there in 2015 when this was adopted,
okay,
and the purpose for it was allowing systems who are not exporting to receive the exemption, and those who are net metering to not receive it. But in other words, which subsidy do you want? Do you want the local property tax exemption subsidy, or do you want the net metering subsidy? And so, I understand what Rod's saying, but there's a direct warrant article from the town saying, if you're gonna export, you don't get the property tax exemption. So. All right? Any other questions, any motions on this?
I will make a motion to not pass the exemption, give the exemption.
I will second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great, thank you. We have two veterans tax credit exemption requests. You want to look at those two?
Was it branch of service?
Both Army?
Well,
Both retired, or she still pays I think they're still in the service.
Released in 21 and released in 22.
Gotcha.
Released discharge, I guess.
Larry, you supporting paperwork last week.
Great. Any questions, comments, concerns? I will make a motion to accept both of the veterans tax credit exemption requests before us.
I'll second.
Second.
Second by Mike. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. Okay. Let's print first, not sign first. Don't make the same mistake I made.
Gotcha.
That's it. All right. Thanks. Thank you, sir. Next up, we have a nomination for the filling of the vacancy in the Rockingham Planning Commission for Newfield representative. Bill Meserve has volunteered to take that position. You may know Bill has been very active in the town over the last 20 years on the planning board, very active with the Lamprey River, active in assisting the town in our work on the MS4 and general permit work. So I think he'd be an excellent representative of the town on the Rockingham Planning Commission. Any questions, concerns?
No.
I will make a motion to appoint Bill Meserve as Newfield representative to the Rockingham Planning Commission.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Next up is a notice, just an acknowledgement from the board that we received the notice from Xfinity that they are making a change in their senior government and regulatory affairs group. Jay Summers is leaving and has retired. Brian Christensen and Denise Mason are just filling that position. Any questions or comments? Nothing to notice. Next up, we have the excuse me, the Loco 2023 Loco Marathon and Half Marathon. It will be taking place on Sunday, October 22nd, and they'll pass through a small section of Newfields. Chief, where are they going?
And I have the market coming down Bald Hill, taking a left on Piscastic and back onto the rail trail.
Great. They are just informing us they have the insurance for it, and they just want the board to approve running through the town. Any questions?
Good to go. I'm good.
You gonna hand out water?
I get to sleep in that.
Oh,
I didn't wait till they're all go by before I go out driving.
Exactly. Exactly. I'll make a motion to support the 2023 Local Marathon and Half Marathon running through the town of Newfields on October 22nd.
Second.
Second by Mike. All in favor? Aye. Great. Tax warrant. As we need to pass the tax warrant to allow the collection of taxes, property taxes. I don't think you guys ever got it, so I'm going to read the warrant anyways.
Okay.
I ran down to get grabbed it for the meeting. This is to Sue McKinnon, collector of taxes for Newfields. In the name of the state, you are hereby directed to collect the property taxes in the list herewith committed to you, amounting to the sum of $3,225,332, and with interest at 8% per annum from July 5th, 2023 thereafter. All sums not paid on or before that day. You are ordered to remit all monies collected to the town treasurer, order the town treasurer's designee as provided in RSA 4129-6, at least on a weekly basis or daily whenever tax receipts total $1,500 or more. Basically, allowing Sue to collect property taxes that will, the bills which will go out shortly after we sign this.
Okay.
Any questions, concerns?
Is that the interest rate increase, that 8%?
I think it's always been at 8% actually, hasn't it?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. I think that may be statutory.
Gotcha.
May not be, I'm not sure. But,
Questions?
I'll make a motion to sign the tax collector's warrant.
Second.
Second by Hobie, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Prior meeting minutes is actually quite long. I'll suggest we defer those. You guys can take that home, look at it, and we'll vote on it next meeting.
Okay.
Usually with the long ones, we can do that. You know, if it was a page or two, then just do it now, but, you know, instead of having to sit here and read for 10 minutes. Expenses and revenue for April. If you want to take a look at that. This covers all expenses through April 30th, so it's a third of the year. Ooh. A lot of land use change. Money have come in, huh? That's good.
It's kind of like found money.
Yes, unexpected benefit, right? Interest is also much higher than in prior years for obvious reasons. That 8% thing. We don't have any more elections this year, correct?
No, we do not.
Excellent.
So why do we have the write-ins on them and stuff?
So typically, we'll get invoices and make, like the payments that were in here for waste management
Yeah.
just came in late. So, this reflects activity that took place in April, but we got the invoices and just paid.
Gotcha.
So, quite often those are the delays, and she'll insert those just so that we have the information. Because it looks like we're not recycling enough or collecting enough. You know, the 75 to 80% left, 75% left, when it should be closer to 2/3.
Yep.
So she's just making that adjustment, and, you know, we're in line.
Okay.
But it's, every so often you'll see those adjustments, typically in April. One item I'm going to mention that we talked about at our last meeting, which is there's $20,000 in a highway reserve fund that we talked about last time.
Right.
I did some follow-up, and it looks like the selectmen are the agents of that fund, and so we can release those funds as long as it's complying with the use as highway, basically, you know, doing our roads.
Yep.
I'm going to recommend, and I'll make a motion that due to obviously this year with the cost of doing the roads, especially the completed Bald Hill Road has come in above budget, that we release those funds to the road agent for additional work on our highways for this year.
I'll second that.
Second by Jose. Any questions, comments? Great. All in favor? Aye. Great. Any other questions about revenue and expenses 2 dates, through April 30th.
No, sir.
No, you're good?
Good.
Great. Okay, expenses, prior meeting minutes we covered, tax warrant we covered. All right, other business.
Yes.
You want to do that
Say that?
in non-public? What do you got?
87 Ball Hill.
Yes. Yeah, I sent him an email. He said that they have put up, I guess they put up some stuff on the corner of Bald Hill to try to get people to avoid driving over the gravel in the corner,
Yeah.
as opposed to,
Cut the corner.
yeah, exactly. So trying to prevent them from cutting the corner. So he said, let's see how that works.
Okay, I went out and looked at it today and noticed that the shoulder is actually a little higher than the road surface. So any rain stuff would also bring that out. I don't know whether he wants to put a pitch on that or not.
I think he
That's
wants.
his take.
I think he wants to see how this works, and obviously, he said if we need to address it more, we'll address it more. But as you guys saw, Chris Hutchins, and then there was another gentleman on Football Tour who had sent something in about. So Brian's aware of it, so let's give him an opportunity to address it, and if it's not working, then we'll hear about it, and we'll have to take some more formal action.
Michael, you looked into the double pole issue? And
Yes.
Legislation coming down.
So I talked to a gentleman at the PUC as well as at the Department of Energy. This is not just a problem here, but it's actually all around the state, and there's been a lot of complaints from a lot of municipalities. The issue is the poles are either typically owned by Eversource or the electric utility, the other, Unitil Co-op, or they're owned by basically the successor to the phone company, which is now Consolidated. What typically happens when they move, a pole gets damaged or they move cables from one pole to the other, new pole goes in, and they literally start at the top and work their way down. So top wires are the electric wires, and Eversource or the utilities are usually pretty good about moving those right away. Nobody can do anything else until the person above them has moved their wire. Typically, the person next one down is the phone company. Then the cable, you notice the cables are the lowest ones typically. So Xfinity can't move theirs off the pole until Consolidated moves theirs. Consolidated apparently is notorious for not being very proactive about moving their lines off the pole. So the good news is that even with recently, Consolidated sold all their poles to Eversource in the state, which is good because Eversource is far more responsive about repairing poles, moving stuff, etc., etc. Still doesn't get around the problem of Consolidated doing their turn and rotation. The state knows this. There's actually legislation to form a commission to address this specifically. The hard part is you could penalize the pole owner, but Eversource isn't really the problem here.
And they have no recourse against Consolidated.
They really don't have a whole lot of leverage there. And so that's what the commission is going to try to do, is figure out a way either legislatively or through regulation to try to either carrot or stick Consolidated to being a little more timely. Because once they're moved, getting rid of Eversource will come around and get rid of the poles. It's just the movement of the wires is what's holding it up.
How long have these been doubled? Do you have any idea?
Around here?
Yeah.
Years. And like I said, this is
Statewide.
This is a statewide problem that everybody is complaining about, which is why the state's trying to do something to address it. But that's really the story.
Is that already going past the legislature?
I think it's awaiting governor's signature, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't looked lately around where it is, but everybody expects it to pass. It's a pretty simple, piece of legislation. So, what else you got?
Email from Sue about trees at Hilton Field. I explained to her that, especially that dead limb.
Yeah.
I got Eversource or DOT to trim what was over the highway, but they won't touch anything else because of its location either in the stone wall
Yep.
or the majority inside the property. So that really big widowmaker up there is still, and that's what she was curious about.
Okay. have to talk to the sellers about that. It's their land. And see what they want. You know, they had no problem with it being trimmed by DOT. I don't know how far they want to take it though. So I'll reach out to Lucy Bell about that. I do know, I think they gave permission, although I think the old Peasley property, the Lewis property, which is the first house after the fields, had two really dead maples. They just took those down, right?
That's what stacked.
Yeah. I had talked to the sellers about allowing property, them to utilize the field to access those so that they could take them down, so, they know that trees are an issue around the field, so, I'll reach out to Lucy Bell and have her.
And I mentioned to Sue that you would knowledge on it as far as the access and everything.
Great. Other issues?
And just at some point under 91A the contract issue, the legality issue, discuss any discussions with the town council.
Yeah, I think we're gonna go into another non-public to talk about,
Yeah, we should.
do we need to, non-public for the sale letter or public?
Well, I think it's gonna get into, and if I'm reading 91A right, the business dealings or contractual dealings, I think,
Okay.
of whatever our relationship is.
Pending claims
So,
litigation.
Okay, is it a contractual issue?
I don't know,
Huh.
so, and I'm not sure.
I prefer to default to public for most things.
Okay.
Why don't you go down this road, and if we need to, we'll.
Okay. So, at the Conservation Committee meeting last night, we were going through the agenda and we talked about the Gerards, and somebody mentioned that they thought something was happening with the cellar. And I said, yeah, I said, you know, it was brought to the selectmen. They said, yeah, that's what we heard. I said, well, we're recommending that they go to the Ball Hill access road. And just about everybody in that meeting, you know, completely lost it. Like they said,
Really?
they said last summer they did a lot of work to try to get it rectified. They thought they had it rectified. They were saying that the access on Ball Hill really isn't an option because they think there's too much work there to be done. And so again, I kind of remind everybody this is my third week this way.
Sure.
So, you know, I'm trying to figure out. So I had some questions for you guys with regards to the history on this.
Yep.
Who's sat on that conservation committee in the past? And last year was reporting on that through the summer. Or should have been reporting.
Nobody reported to us on that.
Okay.
So-
So it seems like there's a lot of information that probably wasn't conveyed. So they were wondering why the selectmen were going to intercede and move the access over to Ball Hill. And my explanation of that, as best as I can put it, you know, I was here for the meeting when the Gerards were here.
Mhm.
And I said there were some things that struck the selectmen, I think. You know, one was the fact that the trucks rolling through the yard with the kids.
Yep.
Right? And then no notifications to them with regards to that.
The blind access on
The
87.
blind access on 87, right. So those are the things that I brought up. You know, and basically, you know, they came back with, well, SELT isn't required to give any notice for any of the work. They have access, that's why they have the easements. I said, I get it. So I asked a question, I said, you know, how many trucks are going through there now? And nobody really knew. And I said, okay, well, you know, at one point we started talking about the logging trucks that have to go back there for the project. And they said if the logging trucks needed access, they would not be able to do it no matter what work was done over on Ball Hill to get across and into the area.
Any specifics on that one?
None. So, and this is kind of where I'm going with all this. So, and then it got brought up that, well, the logging trucks only come through like once every 10 years. So I said, okay, well, would the access work for whatever other trucks that they had? You know, maybe that's a solution. Maybe, you know, once every 10 years they're going through the Girard access. So, so they said, well, you know, not really. And then the point that one of the guys brought up last night, which to me was probably the best argument, was if we were to do something over there, if we were to create an access over there, what effect was that going to have on the local environment? And I thought, okay, well, that's why we have the committee, right? That's the one question. We don't have access to that either, right? So maybe there's a study or something to be done, I would think, as to what the effects on the environment in that area are going to be. But you know, and then the other big question they asked me to bring it back to the board tonight is, you know, could we set up a meeting with the committee to have a discussion before we send off letter? I thought that was a good course of action for us to sit down with them, understand what they know about it. But you know, that because it's got me asking a lot more questions. I was thinking today, what is the relationship between the town and SELT? Is it strictly voluntary? I mean, if you go to their website, that's what it basically says. It's a voluntary. So where do the rules come from? Who signed up to what with regards to the SELT access? You know, and then, you know, what can we do as a board to help define that? Because to me, that's what's needed right now. I think we just need to have a little more definition.
So to give you some history on this all came up when the town acquired the Piscassic Greenway land.
Mm-hmm.
A bond of which we pay off in another 3 or 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
SELT was identified as the manager of that land. Town owns it.
Mm-hmm.
SELT administers it.
Okay.
And there was a agreement put in place about that administration.
Mm-hmm.
The problem, as we discussed last time, was SELT, the Girards basically were asking SELT to provide 24-hour notice of when they were there. And SELT found that unreasonable.
Right.
Why? Well, I should say, a former member of SELT actually worked with the Girards fairly well, but when he left,
Right.
it became something that SELT thought was unreasonable.
Okay.
Which, again, for citizens in the town, I'm shocked that they would think that's unreasonable.
Mm-hmm.
Especially given the kids there, the large trucks coming through there. You know, I understand what the letter of the law is in terms of their requirements are.
Right.
But I think there's a right way and a wrong way to do things, and I think SELT's doing it the wrong way. There is a safety issue there. I mean, that's, you know, we have the same problem that we're dealing with the Vernons right now and having to move their driveway because there's not 400 feet of visible access there, and having traffic in and out of their property is a problem.
Yep.
It's the same problem when you have large trucks coming in and out of where the Girard's access is. It's not a good sight line.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's potential safety issues there as well. And we talked about this. So the Girards have, over the last 4 years,
4 years.
tried to get SELT to basically work with SELT to say, look, provide us notice. That's what we're looking for. And the Girards actually own a lot on the other side of the rail trail that's encompassed by the Piscassic Greenway.
Mm-hmm.
They have offered to provide that to SELT in return for them agreeing to provide notice, and SELT has said no. I couldn't tell you why SELT is digging their heels on this. It makes no sense to me. So the Gerards came up with the idea of, look, we, the Gerards, will pay for any changes that are necessary
Right,
to move that access over to Baldo Road.
yeah,
From a public safety standpoint, it makes sense. From their situation, it makes sense. It would require, requiring, providing notice, because they're not really interfering with anybody's house over on that side. Makes total sense to me. Now, it surprises me that the Conservation Commission is taking a position that SELT isn't required to provide notice, so they don't have to provide notice. I'd love to have them here to answer questions about that, because to me, that's not representing the people of this town. It is a perfect, in my opinion, it's a perfectly reasonable request.
One of the other things, if you might jump in, George had talked to me about when Selden sent people in, there's no uniforms, no
I
identification.
mentioned that too.
People would come in their trucks and then driving too fast through there, which is a narrow area. Their kids are there, they've got horses there, and it's just a lack of common sense and courtesy and respect for folks that are in public.
And I think when they came in that night too, they also said that because they're not uniform, they couldn't tell who was on the land, and apparently they found some people there that were in Port Cell
Yeah.
that just walked on.
Yep.
Yeah. So and those were the reasons that I missed
Yeah.
last night. They said, well, we'd like to talk about it. And I said, well, yeah, we should absolutely talk about it.
We'll put them on the agenda for next meeting.
And we'll bring Selton in. I mean, because if there's another side of this that we're missing somehow. Which-
I've actually sat down with Selt and the Gerards, and I don't think we're missing anything here.
Okay.
I think it is Selt being Selt, and them basically saying we don't have to.
So,
I mean, I literally sat with them and the Gerards for 3 hours.
okay.
So, look, I think we should have the Conservation Commission and talk to them about it, see if they have any other perspectives or insights on this.
Yeah.
I'm more than happy to do that.
Sure.
And we'll let the Gerards know as well.
Okay.
And then we'll go from there.
Okay.
I'll do that.
Great.
Good.
So we'll plan the next meeting.
Yeah. Can you reach out to the Conservation Commission?
Was that invite them to next meeting?
Request the Conservation Commission attend the next meeting to talk about the self-access through the Gerard property. Great. And yes, that's all public.
Okay, perfect.
Any other issues for public? All right, you want to go into non-public? Okay, we'll make a motion to go into non-public under 91A, dealing with legal issues.
To echo.
7:45. All right,
Who seconded them, sorry?
Second.
second by Mike, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Just can't work.